All right, guys, welcome back to the Everything College Football Podcast. Today we'll be breaking down our final team preview on this channel for the 2021 season. Don't worry, though, we're on everythingcfb.com. Plenty of breakdowns for all the Power 5 teams in their respective conference predictions articles, so go make sure to go check that out. If your team has not been covered, they will be in there. So let's get right into it. With the LSU Tigers, Miles Brennan suffered a shoulder injury a couple weeks ago, so he's going to be out indefinitely. A big blow for this team. He averaged 370 passing yards per game last season in only 3 games. He was really good, though. 11 touchdowns, 3 picks, and unfortunately struggled to stay healthy last year. T.J. Finley and Max Johnson both shine. They both have their bright spots. T.J. Finley's now gone, though. He's over in Auburn. So Max Johnson's going to be the starter. It's not really by default, though. I'm really excited to see what he can do. He looked pretty good, his final 2 starts of the year. I don't think he completed over 60% of his passes in either of those games. He went on the road, though, made a lot of plays with his arm and his leg against Florida in an upset win. Then against Ole Miss, I think he had almost 500 passing yards in that game. They put on a passing clinic. Not a great defense, but still very impressive stuff for your second career start. I'm excited to see what Max Johnson can do this season. But he did struggle in the games before versus A&M and Bama, so Johnson has plenty of growing to do, but I do think the potential is there. Looking at the supporting cast he has at running back, Tyrion Davis-Price and John Emery, they are back. They're immensely talented players. They only combined for 91 yards per game last season, but they both averaged over 4.2 yards per carry, so they were efficient. I would like to see them get back to running the ball more. And they also have a lot of depth, though. So John Emery, a former 5-star, Davis-Price, as we mentioned. Then you move to the freshmen. They got Corey Kenner, Armani Goodwin. They both ranked inside the top 10 of the 24/7 sports rankings for running backs. Kenner, nice burst. He's quick. He fights through traffic. I think they could have a future star in their hands with him. A nice little rotation of backs for LSU. I would like to see them be more effective. The efficiency part, I think they have that covered. But being more effective, that's something they're gonna have to do to win football games this season. Moving to the wide receiver position, Kayshon Boutte. This guy, he didn't really step up until the last part of the season. He started the last 4 games, ran away with it, 527 yards, 4 touchdowns over the final 3. Highly explosive guy, great route runner. People think he could probably have a Jamar Chase type impact for this team. Only 2 other guys, though, recorded 20-plus receptions in 2020 for the Tigers, and that would be Jere Jenkins and Coy Moore. So inexperience can be a bit of an issue. They do have talent, though. They reload there as well. Reinforcements are on the way. 3 of the top 13 receiving recruits, all ranked inside the top 100 of 20. These are all 24/7 sports rankings. That is Deion Smith, Brian Thomas, Chris Hilton. They're all coming to Baton Rouge. I think those guys are going to be. I don't know if they're going to be thrown to the wolves exactly, but I think they're going to play a big role in this season for the Tigers because they're going to be looking for guys other than Boutte to step up. Well as inexperience, again, is a bit of a concern in this receiving corps, but I like the talent they have. I really like this offense. I think they can really put things together, but it's going to be starting with the offensive line. If these guys can't get it together, then they might be in the same boat as last year. But there's reason for optimism. Coach O said the offensive front was the single most important area to address after the win over Ole Miss, which was the season finale. Expecting a big season, though, from this veteran offensive line. Left tackle Dare Rosenthal, unfortunately, he entered the transfer portal. He's off to Kentucky, but new offensive line coach Brad Davis, he has a lot to work with. I think they still have a pretty good starting lineup, especially on the interior. Guard Ed Ingram, Liam Shannon at center, guard Chase Hines, Austin Decoys, he moves the right tackle. And there's a guy, very youthful, but Garrett Dellinger, he's one of those guys I think he's going to really stand out this year. He's going to be able to fill any role they ask of him. So they've recruited very well there, too, so they have some pretty good depth. Overall, though, I'm happy with this offensive line's projected starting depth chart. I think they can make some noise this season. But, again, it's a bit of a work in progress up front. But I think Coach O, he's made that a focal point this offseason. I think they're going to be incredibly different. Moving to the defense, defensive coordinator Durante Jones, his first year on the job, he has a lot of talent, but it's not going to be an immediate fix for this defense. They need some work. They gave up almost 35 points per game last season. They also ranked dead last in pass yards per game last season at 323 per contest. We're going to start with the defensive line, though. Depth is very ideal. You have the massive Neil Farrell and Glenn Logan on the interior, veterans. They're both seniors. I think that's going to be immense for this defense. They're going to be the tone setters up front. They also have, again, the depth. I really like what they have. Jacqueline Roy, he was a beast last year. Numerous QB hurries, 4 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. He also played in limited action. I think that's going to be one of the breakout stars. The top-ranked recruit for LSU, was 5-star Mason Smith. He also figures into the rotation. 6'6", 312, massive player. Also very athletic, got a lot of skills. You're going to see some new names shine up front for LSU on the defensive front. I really like what they have. You move to the pass rushing group, though. Another very impressive unit for this defense. Ali Gay, he made his presence felt periodically last year. 9.5 tackles for loss, 6 pass breakups. He has a chance to be special this season. I think a lot of people are expecting him to elevate himself into a day 1 or 2 selection. A lot of good hype for Gay. We'll see what he can do this year. With he's going to have a lot of pressure this year, so we'll see what he can do. Andre Anthony, he actually led the team with 5.5 sacks last year. But B.J. Ojulari is another guy who I think is really going to stand out. Tremendously high ceiling. You just seen his brother Aziz go in the second round of the draft. He was kind of quiet last year, though. He had 5 tackles for loss on the year. Those all came within the first 4 games. 3 tackles for loss. 3 sacks, that is, rather. They came all against South Carolina. And then, he was pretty silent the rest of the season. Didn't do much of anything. But he was also incredibly young. I believe he was a freshman last season. So Ojulari, high ceiling guy. You saw what he did early in the year. If he can be more consistent, he can get more time in the rotation or the starting lineup, you're going to see him start to put up some big numbers. Very high ceiling for B.J. Ojulari. LSU, I think they're incredibly happy with what they have in the front seven as a whole. At inside linebacker, Mike Jones comes over from Clemson. He's not the best tackler, not the best run defender, but he's elite in coverage. Also a really impressive blitzer. Like Mike Jones, I think a lot of people are thinking he's going to be an All-American this season. He definitely has the potential to do so. And, coverage was their biggest concern last year, and he's going to come and fill that role. Jabril Cox is gone. So Mike Jones, one of the biggest transfer additions of the offseason. Next to him, veterans, Michael Backersville. He stepped up last fall, 55 stops. Damone Clark, he tied for the team high in 63 tackles. So alongside Mike Jones, altogether a very respectable front seven. I think it's going to be one of the nation's best come towards the end of the season. You look at the secondary, though, behind them. Derek Stingley, Elias Ricks. This is the nation's top cornerback duo. Not really much to talk about. It's not a debate. We saw what Derek Stingley did as a freshman. Kind of quiet last season. LSU wasn't that good, so didn't get a lot of attention. He also missed some time due to injuries. But Derek Stingley, phenomenal player. He's the nation's #1 corner. Elias Ricks. He was another guy both these guys were highly ranked 5 stars coming out of school, and they both shined in their first season. Elias Ricks really showed off his ball skills. Really good towards the end of the season. So Ricks, Stingley, they're both going to continue to progress, especially Ricks. These guys are going to be so tough to pass the ball against. The deep back end is really where people are concerned. Cordell Flott, he's in line to get the start in the slot. Still a bit of a shaky position, though. You might see Jay Ward step into that spot. They have some solid depth. So Flott, he's going to get the start the year, I believe. But it's still a bit of an area for concern. So they could, look to retool that area. Speaking of Jay Ward, he will move to safety. Great ball skills. He got 3 picks, 6 pass breakups a season ago. Very impressive player. And if he doesn't pan out, though, they have incredible talent behind him. They added 2 of the top 4 safeties in the class of 2021, Sage Ryan and Derek Davis. They also acquired Major Burns from UGA. So I think that these guys are going to have a completely revamped pass defense. The talent is there all around. A lot of people are not really expecting big things from this football team, but I think they have a very talented roster. If Max Johnson can play above average, then, this team's really going to compete in the West, as they typically do. We'll jump into their schedule real quick. They play at UCLA to start the year, an experienced bunch. They have a lot of things to fix their own, but, they get a week head start. They play on the 28th against Hawaii, so they'll have, some time to figure things out before LSU. Week 2, McNeese State, nothing to discuss there. Week 3, they host Central Michigan. Jacob Sermon, Dylan Richardson. Nice little QB battle the Central has going on. Impressive defensive front, too. CMU has some talent. Again, it's going to be a no contest. LSU run away with this one. They begin conference play at Mississippi State. The Bulldogs have a pretty good defense, though. They have a really good secondary as well. We'll see if their passing offense can replicate what it did last year, and they had 623 yards in the season opener. They were pretty quiet after that, so that shows you, I guess, how bad LSU's secondary was, because the Bulldogs' passing attack was not very great after the LSU game for the entirety of the year. So that's going to be a very interesting game. They have to travel to Stark Vegas, so that's going to be a fun game to watch. Next, they host Auburn. It's always a great ball game, Tigers versus Tigers. at Kentucky the next week. It'll be a tough challenge for the defensive front. You'll see how far they've come. They play a very good offensive line led by Darian Kennard, Chris Rodriguez, Kvarzier Smoke. Nice running game. So that'll be a fun matchup for LSU. They then host Florida. Again, another game that's always really great. It seems to come down to the wire year after year. The Tigers and the Gators. And then they'll play two phenomenal offenses in back-to-back weeks on the road in Ole Miss and Alabama. Those are going to be tough games to win for LSU. They happen in late October and then the start of November, so we'll see the progression LSU makes. But, a very tough 3 to 4 game stretch right there for the Tigers. They round off the year with Arkansas, UL Monroe, and Texas A&M. They host all 3 of those. I think this team can win 9 games, and that's going to be the prediction, 9-3. LSU, though, they have a very high ceiling. If they can figure things out with their passing attack, they can shore up that secondary pretty quickly. Then this is going to be a very scary football team to play. So that's going to wrap everything up. Make sure to go to everythingcfb.com to check out team previews for all your favorite teams. Predictions are all over the website, along with here on the Everything College Football Podcast. So make sure you guys subscribe, leave a like, comment. See you next time.